excited about today's speaker. When Aminah came into our wonderful center here, we started having another dimension to who we are. We have many people in here that have followed different paths. We have people here who were raised Jewish. We have people who were raised Catholic. We have people who were raised Christian, Baptist, so many different faiths. And when Aminah came in and started talking about what it was to be Muslim, it opened it up just like a multi-petaled flower. We become united with all. And I was so glad to have her come and talk about something that I always wonder about, and that's Ramadan. Because I'm never too sure what I'm supposed to say, or if I'm supposed to offer tea or coffee or people who come and visit me during this period of time. I was raised with the Southern feeling of hospitality that people should be offered a warm beverage. I sound like Sheldon at Big Bang. I feel like you should be offered a warm beverage when you enter the house. But I didn't know if that's what you did when somebody was fasting during Ramadan. And you'll notice that I will say Ramadan, Ramadan, and who knows what else, because after looking it up and listening to other people, I realize there's not just one way to say it, because different people have different accents. And so we're going to listen today on how our wonderful Aminah says it. Please welcome Aminah.
This is my clicker.
Hey, clicker!
I think we call her an associate.
And a remote associate.
Her remote. My mother used to make me her remote before they became popular. Judy changed the channel.
I have a really loud voice, and all my notes are here, and my clicker's over there. So we're gonna make this work. If you can't hear me, just wait in the back. But I'm
We're
pretty.
concerned about the camera.
Gotcha.
Are you okay?
Yeah, go ahead and speak.
Want Margaret to hold it for you?
No.
Be your mic.
One
I can be
hand.
your mic.
One hand works somewhere. Yeah, I'm a train wreck with all kinds of issues. Don't put that on tape.
It's already there.
Be careful what you say.
Yeah, it's here. I can't.
So let's see if anybody remembers anything from last year besides the fasting stuff. Salam alaikum.
Salam alaikum.
The appropriate response is alaikum salam.
She did it.
And back to you.
Back at you.
Yeah, that would be the vernacular. So how do we say the first word?
Ramadan.
Oh, they learn. The D is the way it was spelled in English, but not the way it's pronounced. So it's Ramadan, as in TH. And Judy's been trying the last one. So it is Mubarak, and it is greetings, it is congratulations, it's everything in that celebration. So if you'll go to the
Mubarak.
second slide.
Okay, now is that the up, the down, or the left, or the right? Pick one.
Pick one. That said no, so go another one.
Hey.
So this is the pronunciation help. Get it? Mubarak. Get it? Okay, somebody else picked these fun slides and I found them and she has left graciously.
Ramadan.
So not Ramadan, okay? Ramadan. Okay, so some fun ways to remember how to pronounce it
Ramadan.
correctly.
Ramadan.
And just like what Dottie's talking about is as you go to different cultures, of course the accent changes a little bit, but this is the overall accepted way in Arabic, because these are Arabic words, for all us plain people. So basically, it means, have a happy Ramadan. And so Mubarak is congratulations. It's all of that celebration that you would be acknowledging there. This is me clicking. So some statistics and that kind of stuff. I really wanted you guys to see this, where how many hours are people fasting? And I know Judy and I were just talking about this also, and it is from sunrise to sunset. And that changes everywhere in the world. That changes state by state. and that type of stuff. And
Does
it
it
isn't,
change for time zones too?
absolutely.
Like they gave us this stupid daylight savings time, so we
yeah.
gotta go an hour longer?
Well, and exactly, but we're not going on the given clock, we're literally looking at outside. So we're going with what the earth has created, mankind. So it is about the same time, if you look at it that way, from sunrise to sunset. It has different hours because it just depends on where you live in that, what do you wanna call it, solar plex of stuff. So,
Your latitude.
there, that's what I'm on. Click.
Oh, the clicker is doing such a good job explaining.
How many million was that? How
It
many
was
million?
What is that,
1
18
billion,
billion, eight?
It was 1,800,000,000.
Yeah, and that was in 2017.
Wow.
So, it fluctuates and changes, and we have babies and all kinds of things. So some things I wanted to go back over, and that kind of stuff, and hope this really helps everybody. Again, the pronunciation is Ramadan. It is one of the 5 pillars of Islam, mandatory of all Muslims to be able to fast. And I talked about this extensively. For example, I am forbidden to fast. I am on medication, and it would be detrimental to my life and my health. So you are not, literally, if I fasted, it wouldn't be accepted. It would be pointless, because I'm going against what God has said this is healthy or not to do. Pregnancy, puberty, prior to that. You can't do that, and we talked extensively about the health and well-being of fasting is a really great tool. But again, sunrise to sunset, it's not all day, because that's not the point of it. So Ramadan has to be, you are physically, mentally, and medically capable of doing it. The month of Ramadan is 9 months in the Islamic calendar. So again, we are on a lunar solar calendar, so it changes. That's why it's different in every country, different in every state where it is. It's important that to Muslims, because it is a period of time in which the Holy Quran was revealed to the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. So it's really putting that into place on how and when that. And if you don't know, just a small piece is, Prophet was illiterate. And this was given to him divinely, and then he went down the hill and said, I was told this, and somebody wrote it down. And it was within 24 hours, so that it would be literal. But he did not write it, he did not pen it, he wasn't able to. It can last between 29 and 30 days, and the dates vary, each based on the moon sighting methodology. In 2019, it will begin in the evening of Sunday the 5th of May, making the first day of fasting Monday, May 6th. And again, we have a lot of people out there who will sight the moon, and it depends on your belief and where your faith is going and what mosque or who you are following, whose moon you decide this was the one I'm going with. And everybody pretty much stays with the same scholars and that type of stuff, because you can imagine, you'll see in a farther side, yeah, there's moon wars. Somebody coined that phrase. So during the day, Muslims abstain from eating and drinking, also smoking, gossiping, arguing, swearing, and sex. The fast begins before sunrise at a meal called suhoor and ends at sunset with iftar. So these are the technical Arabic terms for it. At the end of 29 to 30 days of fasting, there is a big celebration called Eid al-Fitr. Think of it as the equivalent of Easter or Christmas. It's a big deal. Families get together, indulge huge feasts, and exchange gifts. So if you think fasting is great for weight loss, don't do it. Because this is the month you'll gain weight. And I have gained weight every Ramadan I ever fasted, because what you're doing is you're taking the whole day, you're still being busy and all that type of stuff, but then you're eating too much, usually, because the food is amazing. It's just, you go to these events and these women who cook like I don't, and it's from every culture, and it's just, well, wait a minute, she might not cook that next time, and I might not be here next time, and yeah, you really overdo it. So what you would think would be logical is you'd switch your work schedule, and you'd work nights and sleep all day. Well, you kind of missed the point of the fast, the point of the challenge. What does this put you through? Can you stop smoking for 30 days? Can you stop drinking coffee for 30 days? And I'm hoping alcohol's not even in there because that would be really strange for a Muslim. But these things that we find, I can't live without. I can't live without whatever, ... Yeah, maybe swearing. No, it's a perfect example, thank you. And this is what gives you kind of that autocorrect in your life. And hopefully for you to do better. Go ahead. So, so this is that whole thing. I'm not going to eat fried things for the whole of Ramadan. Yeah, you missed the point of Ramadan. That's all you're giving up is fried things. Everybody's laughing at you. Because no one is drinking water. Our bodies get dehydrated, leading to halitosis. So you may find that we may keep our distance from you. So this is, I'm really going to talk about what Dottie brought up, is how to be around somebody, because we talked about what Ramadan is last year. And with this audience specifically, we're all really interconnected with other cultures and other people and that kind of stuff, and it will help you be just a better neighbor and that type of stuff. So if we back up, we're trying to prevent killing you with our breath. If you accidentally break your fast, there is no shame or recriminations. Just resume it, because everybody goes and says, "Oh, I'm going to do this," and they go, "Oh." It doesn't mean the whole day's negated. We're human. That is put into context. There's the moon wars. It's a real thing. Since there are billions of Muslims, everyone has a different moon sighting methodology. So everybody says, "Oh, I do this." And again, follow who you believe is, for you, the most trustworthy. Children begin fasting when they reach the age of adolescence, hit puberty, usually at the age of 10 to 12. Many children want to begin fasting earlier because they see their friends and families participate. Parents are encouraged to allow children to fast, but to be mindful, make sure that the children do not become ill, dehydrated. They might want to practice. And now a lot of them do that. They'll say, "Let's just, do lunch," or "Let's just, how about we just not do Twinkies all month," or getting them to get to know, to give up something, to understand that favorite toy, that favorite video, or their phone, or whatever. We all have addictions. Right now that cell phone seems to be glued to all of us.
Yeah.
And they're wonderful tools. They're wonderful tools. But like this, it's nice to put them down and put them on silent and be present here. Yes?
Backing up for a second, what does moon sighting mean and why is the moon important?
Because that dictates the beginning and the end of Ramadan. So what you're talking about is, if you're talking to somebody who's in California and they're somebody you trust, a Molana, a pastor, a priest is the same equivalence, you want to go with somebody you trust that says, "Yes, I sighted the moon tonight, Ramadan is now over. Ramadan is now begun." No, nobody's going to hell because they got 1 or 2 days off in the middle or end. But you want to go with somebody you trust, who knows, who's trained, who is a Molana, which is the pastor or priest or somebody who's trained to do that sighting. Because it could be a glimmer in the sky. You got a full cloudy day, you're going off a lot more information than looking outside. And you can go on a high mountain, probably find a sliver of a moon. But again, you have to trust the person and their methodology of how they're deciding they saw a moon. Because at 30 days, everybody wants you to see that moon. Okay? It's very hard. That's the point of a fast for 30 days. It's to be hard. And that's why you have to be healthy.
Sometimes the moon is visible during the day. What do you...
Yeah, but usually that you've got more than a quarter visible at that point. We're talking about the very first sliver of the very first night, and it takes not somebody with just a telescope to know this is a true moon I'm seeing, not the shadow thereof. Does that make sense? Okay. So, next slide, please.
Okay, can I ask a question? When all that stuff you're talking about, is that daily or just beginning and end?
No, beginning and end. Because once you have a beginning, the race is on.
Okay.
You figure you've got 30 days. Around the 29th day, because the month and the moons fluctuate, you have people checking nightly in those last 2 or 3 days. And again, it's who you trust and who you decide to follow. Because you can't go with, I'm just going to go with the guy who sees it first. You were thinking that, weren't you?
Go with the guy who sees it first.
Yeah, and you're supposed to pick one person. We could all go to a different church every Sunday. might be a little confusing after a while. But you go with someone who resonates with your beliefs and your status. So just some pictures of how it is all over the world. The amazing part is when we break our fasts, it is community. It is someplace they really encourage you to be with others. It's about being part of that community and that kind of stuff, and the culture all over the world. And by the time at the end of Ramadan, it's like the 4th of July and Christmas and everything all at once. So this says, not even water. And we get this about the safety. Again, you have to be healthy. Do you go and play sports all day? No, these are things you go learn to work on a computer, if that's what you do all day. But you have to regulate what you're doing, otherwise you're putting your own life at risk. And that's not what this is about. It's about learning to give up something you feel you cannot live without. People who have drug addiction and or smoking and or drinking or whatever, shopping, you feel like, oh, I can't, bold, capitalized, do without this. This is that moment in your life, once a year, to say, let's clean the deck. Let's see what I can do that I feel like I can't live without. Food is a basic. Food is a really basic. So, we get asked a lot, well, you can drink water, right? No. It's the halitosis thing. Because if we all brush our teeth prior to the fasting starting, but that's at 4 in the morning. So I don't know about you, about noon it could get a little dicey. And I can't suck on mints. That's not allowed. I'm not eating them, but nothing. Zero. I can't swish my mouth out. No, because the chance of, let's say you try to just rinse your mouth out, that you swallow some of that is absolutely. Some people get really upset like they've all of a sudden gotten attacked by a dust storm. In the desert, that happens a lot. I grew up in the high desert, it did that. And you suck down some dirt, you've just passed something through the throat. Is that your fault? No. Did you create the dust storm? No. But if you drank something, that's it. If you forget, we all forget the first week. It's like, whoops, and you spit it out. You move on. That's just being human and learning to pace yourself. So this is where we're really going to center at. We get asked this a lot. I saw a really great video. A young woman in her cafeteria, and here she's been fasting, and she's chowing down and munching and sitting on the counter, and one of the guys walks in and says, hey, I thought you were fasting. So we'll go to the next slide and say, why? Don't ask that.
Did I go 2?
Yeah, try 1. There we go.
Oh.
So don't be weird about eating in front of us. We know what we're doing, and it's wonderful courtesy to say, hey, do you mind if I eat in front of you? 90% of them are going to say, yeah, sure, that's fine. But if it's your first year or your second or whatever, yeah, maybe not. It is a courtesy, but don't stress, because obviously if we're in the lunchroom and if we're fasting, we've taken that step to be in that environment, and it's also our responsibility to be at.
Well, that actually happened to me like last week at work. One of our coworkers was doing a lunch and learn, and one of my coworkers is Muslim, and I had this gigantic salad because it was a lunch and learn,
Right.
and it was in a container, and I had the lid on it because I wasn't hungry at the moment that I had it.
Right.
And I asked her, are you fasting for Ramadan? She said, yes, I am. And I said, is this going to bother you? And she said, no, not at all. And I said, okay, I just want to be sure, and then I gave her a blessing. I honored her,
And what's really nice about this, that I know Dottie's hoping you get, and I hope you get, having lived this life for so many years, is the courtesy of just being asked, that you knew, that some white woman walked by and had her salad and went, oh my gosh, you know. Because so many people just don't know. Ignorancy is there, but that's how we all move forward and that kind of stuff. So it's fine. People who don't want to watch eating opt out of the table, so you don't have to apologize for doing what you need to do in an appropriate space. Now if you're eating at your desk and she sits next to you, maybe not.
Yeah.
Maybe not. So we know what we're getting into when we fast. Nobody's expecting a special treatment. And if they are, they're probably doing it for the wrong reasons. Ask about the experience. Don't make assumptions. And that's true about our whole lives. Assumptions are dangerous and always get us in trouble. Fasting is hard. It's meant to be. It's a time for a Muslim to reflect on their lives, the privilege they hold, and think deeply about what they can do to make the world a better place, etc. If you know someone is fasting, talk to them. Ask about why they fast, but don't assume that it is as awful to them as it sounds to you. Muslims actually love Ramadan. It, for me, was cathartic, healing, a recheck of where I was. You know, maybe I'm having donuts every night and thinking, oh yeah, and you really get that all cleared out. You really get all that cleared out. Sometimes Muslims don't eat. Don't pry. The list is long. If you have a Muslim friend and you notice they're not fasting, don't inquire why. Lots of Muslims don't fast for many reasons. For the girls specifically, pregnancy, menstruation, illness, old age, etc. They're on medication that day and that kind of stuff. But example was this young woman in the cafeteria and the guy going, hey, why? She's thinking, I'm not explaining that to you. Because you cannot fast while you're on your period. It is not healthy. Your body's already doing what it normally needs to do. So some people, I know for me, I would go to a half meal or a part meal because it's too hard to go back and forth when you're in the middle of a month and then try to fast completely all over again. So I would try to keep it as low because it is forbidden for you to do a complete fast while you're on your period. It's not healthy. It's not healthy, and this is not about how to kill yourself 101. So some funny things. Yes, I'm on low battery. Yes, you feel like your stomach's going to talk to you to death, and yes, you interrupt meetings while it's going. And lots of self-talking in the mirror. No, you're not hungry. You're just bored. No, you're hungry. No, you're not hungry. Yeah, we're human. It just goes on, and you kind of have to just laugh through it and go, okay. For me, it was those first 5 days. Once you got it, you know, and I'm a horrible eater anyway, so my body's like, she forgot about me again. Never mind. Want to be helpful? Just ask. Just what you did. Do you want to help a colleague or friend who's fasting? Ask them if they like any accommodations. Sometimes it's just a matter of scheduling meetings earlier in the day or allowing a team member to work from home. If they need anything, they will tell you. You can help create a safe space for requesting accommodations if you ask first. So I personally know somebody this year for the first time asked their boss if they could come home half day. Because by about 2, no matter how many meetings she went to, it was like, I don't know. It was a fog and that kind of stuff. Because you figure out your last meal was at 4 a.m. Your next one's not going to be for right now till 8 o'clock. So it's a long day. So you kind of switch your schedule. And then what she's doing is, you know, breaking her fast and then working for 3 hours at, you know, until 10 or midnight, depending on what her project is. So she's getting her work in, and she's coming for the meetings and everything in the morning. But her job has accommodated her that way, and that's just something you can think about, saying, hey, we could kind of tweak this for this month, as long as the work's getting done and we can think about it. Because my brains are going to be there in the morning, maybe not at 3 o'clock. So, sofres, this is a small version of it. Now this is why we all gain weight. These are all Middle Eastern cookies and desserts, and they're fabulous, and they have saffron and every kind of very expensive pistachios and all that kind of stuff. And everybody going to the mosques, and it's just a huge community event, so it's really lovely. You can participate, but you don't have to fast. It's cool if you want to try fasting for a day, but you don't have to. Instead, join a friend for iftar. What's iftar?
Celebration of fast.
Yes, at the evening. You guys learn so well. During the month, there are lots of events taking place in the city. If you see an iftar happening, ask your friend if they are going or if they'd be interested in going with you. They're huge, fun, communal meals. Again, very community. And if you walk by a mosque and they're having this big feast, please ask. If they say no, they're doing the wrong things. So just some examples. Of course, there's cards and letters like any holiday. There's a million of these out there. Just some wonderful Arabic art and pictures and that kind of stuff. About fasting this is a young woman that had a part of this PowerPoint and asked her if I could use it, so I wanted to go off of some of her experiences. She drinks caffeine. I don't. I will typically be most alert before 2 p.m. If there's important meetings you would like to schedule, please try to book them earlier in the day. She also said sometimes you might have to repeat something to me because while I might have been kind of looking at you, I was actually staring off in the distance and thinking about how much I could use coffee. That's just real. Yeah, that might be a normal day for some. I might stare at your food. I'm sorry. I love food. And if you have delicious food, I will look at it. Please don't be uncomfortable or shy about eating. I just get distracted easily. I will probably also look at pictures of food sometimes. It's weird, but it totally helps me. Again, she's so funny. I will be quieter than usual. That's because I'm a little dead inside without coffee. I'm not sad or mad or not excited to be at work. I am, I promise. It's just that I do miss coffee. I will decline lunch invitations. Shocking. Coffee chats and office happy hours and socials. I hope you understand. It's just easier. Just put it in perspective of life.
Yeah.
So some links if you want to look up other things, but there's a million things online. Next page, Judy.
Oh, I thought I did.
And this is that famous part CCL loves to answer questions. Anybody have any questions?
I have a statement.
Absolutely.
My sister just got back from Dubai,
Mm.
and when she was in Dubai, she had heard about how they were just 2 blocks from the biggest mall in the world, and she was so excited, and she walked in, and there was nobody there. and then none of the food booths were open.
Nope.
And they had these glorious signs of what the food was if it was
Ooh.
open, you know. And she and her husband walked through, and it was like, she said, it was
Tomb.
so quiet. And then at 7 o'clock,
Uh-oh.
all hell broke loose.
We're free at last.
All of the doors went up, the lights came on, everything started blinking, the music was loud, and everybody was, and she said, Dottie, I've never seen such a switch flipped
Yeah.
anywhere in my life.
And it goes on for 30 days.
As what
So,
happened
yeah.
in Dubai as the sun went down.
And at the end of it, it's even bigger at the end. If you can get louder and that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's a celebration, and that's why people get fat. They're not losing weight. Yeah.
What does the inside of a mosque look like? And is it okay, there's a mosque right at San Antonio on 101. Is it okay if I go there sometime and just go to their 10 o'clock service? And should I wear a scarf?
Yes. Yes and yes.
Oh.
So be prepared. Be prepared. You'll have to remove your shoes.
Yes.
We never ever wear shoes.
Yes.
So wear clean socks too. That would be nice. Bare feet wouldn't really be appropriate. It's tolerated, but it's not appropriate. Having your bare little toes hanging out there. So socks are, and sometimes they'll have slippers that they allow people to wear in. Because of course there are people that have medical conditions and they have inserts or insoles and stuff like that. What we've done and what I did when I was on crutches is I had a pair that I just used in the mosque. The same as I have house shoes. They only are in the house.
Right.
And then you take them off and these get to go all the spit and gum they want out on the streets. And that's why, because where you're walking is not clean and you wouldn't wear that in. Modesty in your clothing, must. No short sleeves. A scarf would be appreciated. They might give you one and they might just welcome you because they really like you there. But to be respectful in somebody else's space, try to accommodate the dress requirements. If I went to a temple, for example, I would do the same. I would wear no fitting clothes. I wouldn't wear, tight clothes. I wouldn't, things like that. I'd get a small scarf to do that. But you'd be more than welcome. And if you're not, then they're doing something wrong. Because you should be more than welcome. That's the whole point, is to be inclusive and that type of stuff. Anybody else? Yes?
I have a question about the moon. So, does it start at the new moon and end at the new moon?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, because once the moon, because the cycle, it goes dark, and then the next day it comes up in a teeny little sliver. I mean, literally, it's a fingernail, and that's why we call it the moon wars. And that's just a funny term. Nobody actually in Islam calls them moon wars, but is because everybody, depending on where they're looking and what telescope they decided to use or whatever, is seeing it at a different place. But again, on the entire U.S., you cannot go from this part of California and expect to see the same in Nevada or New Mexico. It's not going to be the same. You won't have the same dates. That's why it's not a set date. The Islamic calendar is lunar, so it changes every year. And that's why the holiday never sits in the same place. Does that make
Very
sense?
similar to the Jewish calendar.
Yeah, exactly. Anybody else? Thank you, yes?
I just wanted to offer that years ago, UCM actually had a feast that was brought to us by a Muslim community.
Oh, yeah, that was, when Sandy went to
When Sandy
Turkey,
Clark
when they went to Turkey, yeah.
went to Turkey, and it was amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing, and the energy of the people, I mean, were just incredible.
Yeah, they've been starving to death for 30 days.
You get to eat all night long.
No, you have to sleep at some point. Because if you're doing it in the opposite, you're missing the point of the challenge.
Right.
Because you'll see people who say, oh, I'm just gonna sleep all day and I'll be up all night. Well, how's that any different?
Right.
You know, I used to work nights. So what? I was doing that all the time. But yeah, you're missing the point of the challenge to you personally. To give up what you think you can't live without. And food is a basic necessity. And that type of stuff. Besides the way you should behave. And you hope in 30 days, new habit, right? That you get some kind of correction in some kind of stop cussing, stop drinking. I don't mean water. Yes, ma'am.
I'm kind of surprised they don't include stop complaining in that. Because
Well, it's frowned on big time. It's frowned, but you know, we're all human and that kind of stuff. But if you're gonna stand around and bellyache, you're gonna get a funny look from a few people. You're just like, yeah, I don't think it. And it's the same thing if you're gossiping. We all know the gossips. We all should be steering 7,000 miles away from them because it's just really detrimental to your health and your mental life. So that's something you have to stop. It gives you a chance to say, wow, I really didn't realize I was XYZ doing this. And that month puts that mirror in front of your face and goes, wait a minute, how am I living my life? How am I treating my fellow man, other employees, whatever that is?
Could you talk about the hand painting that goes along with it?
About the what?
She's talking about henna. I don't have enough cultural knowledge of it. Can be another speech for another time, but because it would be fabulous. I mean, and it's so much a part of it, but it's more artistic than religious. And my girls and I have had it done many, 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 many times. It's lovely, but I don't know that it holds any Islamic value. It's more of a cultural. It's more of a cultural thing, and that kind of stuff. And it's literally mud that stains your hands, and the designs are wonderful. These women who do it
I
are
worked with a young lady who, at one point.
they're just artists.
Yeah.
They're just artists,
Yeah.
and we love it. And that's a really great way that a lot of women will do makeup, you know, because you can stain the eyes and everything, but yet it's not makeup and that kind of stuff. So a lot of Muslims don't wear it as far as makeup and that kind of stuff. So.
What I love listening to you about all of this is how much it points out all of our similarities.
Exactly.
And how, no matter what culture you're from, no matter what religious background you're from, there are things that are similar.
Right.
You know, I'm not from a Christian world, but I know about Lent, you know.
Right.
And you know, and in Judaism for Yom Kippur, you fast. It's only a 24-hour fast, but
Right.
it's a little
But
bit
it's the
different.
same
But it's
theory.
the same theory.
Exactly.
It's exactly the same thing, and I love that you bring that to us because it ties it all together for
Exactly.
us of how it is that many rivers run to one sea, right?
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
just
And
some
cookies,
incredible,
cookies,
yeah.
everywhere.
And while we only fast for 24 hours, I
Right.
mean, there's still,
Right.
between Rosh Hashanah
Exactly.
and Yom
Yom
Kippur,
Kippur.
you really do an
You're atoning
evaluation.
the entire time,
Totally.
yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
my grandma,
It's
she
totally-
couldn't
I mean,
eat
it's
after a
totally
while,
free,
and she
and
was
so-
really.
Yeah.
Right.
So thank you.
Exactly.
Thank you
for that.
so much.
You're welcome.
And I will think about doing.
Absolutely, and I get asked, and not any of you have asked, and just my conversion happened when I was 18 and 19, and it was, I got asked a lot. I was surrounded by a lot of Christians, especially my siblings, and that type of stuff. So it's like finding out you're adopted, and you're going, what, those aren't my parents? You know, and so it's a really tough transition. I don't recommend it until you go through it carefully, and just like the fasting, like everything, but what I found is, We're all connected. We're all, I don't care where you believe Christ is or isn't, or Moses is or isn't, we're all connected. History still is history, and these good people, and if you believe them sons or gods or not, they all have tremendous value. And I love that message. Thank
Salam
you.
alaikum is the same as shalom alaikum, right?
And my
it's-
response
yeah.
back is alaikum
Alaikum
salam.
Shalom.
And to you also.
That's right.
Thank you, everybody.
Awesome.
Thank you.